The next book that I read was From Blood and Ash. I actually bought this on my Kindle, and as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this was the longest book that I read this year. It was like 600 and something pages, but this is just a fantasy romance trilogy. Right now I'm actually reading the second one. Do I really need to say the summary of this one? I don't like explaining fantasy. It's like so annoying for me because it's like there's so much world building, and it's like, how do I even explain like what this is and what that is and like why they don't like each other, and just know that it's a fantasy romance. I don't feel like explaining this one, so I'm not going to, but it's a fantasy romance written by Jennifer L. Armentrout. If you're into that, then give it a go. I rated this 4 out of 5 stars because again, not life-changing, but very fun and entertaining to read. Oh my god, this next one was so sad. I would literally go on like walks and just listen to this book and just be so sad. It's The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. So it's basically about this guy named Leo Sokolov, a Slovakian Jewish. He's transported to a concentration camp in Auschwitz. The people who like captured him discovered that he knows like several languages, so they use that and they put him to work. He becomes a tattooist, and his job is to like permanently mark the prisoners and like the number that they are. But yeah, and it's like his journey of being in the concentration camp and just the things that he sees and he endures and the way that he's treated. Oh my god, heartbreaking book, heartbreaking. But the ending was, and oh, I said Lale. Why did I say Lale? His name is literally Lale Sokolov. I don't know. But yeah, the next book I also listened to on audio. People love this one. Again, I don't know, like the advice these people read out just doesn't stick to me. Like maybe I should read self-help books physically so then I can like highlight things and annotate things. But it's Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Fear by Elizabeth Gilbert. I don't know, guys. I don't know. It didn't speak to me, even though I love all things creative. I love to know how to get your brain flowing with ideas and creativity, especially for someone who wants to own her own business in the future. Like, I just want ideas, because the ideas that I have right now are quite generic and like it's what people are already doing. And of course, like you can do what others do and put your own twist on it, and that can make it unique, but I don't know if that's enough these days. I'm looking to start something like really new, but yeah, and for that you need ideas and you need the creative juices to flow. So I thought this would help, but so far I got nothing. I mean, if it sounds like something that you're into, I would definitely recommend it. If you're into self-help, I feel like you would really love this book. I'm not saying the advice in this book is bad by any means, but it just like it didn't stick. So that's the issue here. So yeah, the next book, sorry if I don't get super into some of these summaries. Okay, for some of them, yeah, I feel like it's just not necessary because they're almost like too popular. But the next book that I read wait, do I have this book? I think I have that. Yeah, I physically read this because I have it. All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. Oh, I love this book. It was 5 stars. So good. On the back it says, be bold, be brave, and queer. Guys, I think like it's so important to read about like other people's like the kind of lives that other people live, and just like people who are different to you. Just do it. Maybe you learn a thing or two, okay? Like this world is way too ignorant, so just maybe just do it. So this book is about Johnson, and it's actually like a memoir of George M. Johnson. I'm just gonna read the little blurb here, but it says, from getting bullied at age 5 to visiting flea markets with his loving grandmother to the thrilling frontiers of first relationships, Johnson's early life is a profound tapestry of everyday experiences. As a rising star in cultural criticism, Johnson turns his passion for exploring intersectional identities to his own life by weaving questions of gender, masculinity, brotherhood, family, and Black joy throughout his stories. Posing the same questions to the reader, he invites us to consider what social influences have governed our own lives. Most central to Johnson's journey is how to reconcile his blackness and his queerness identities that are sometimes at odds in his story. The answer is a reassuring testimony for queer men of color. They are equal parts to a whole and perfectly designed person. Yeah. Basically just his journey through life, being queer and being Black, and his experiences with that. It's a really, really quick read. Also a really stunning naked book. I just love this light blue and the pink. Next book. Did I read this or did I listen to that? I think I listened to this. Listened to this book on Libby as well, on audio. It's One to Watch by Kate Stayman London. Kate Stayman London? Or are they just saying she's from London? I think her name is London. Okay, Kate Stayman London. But I give this book 4 out of 5 stars. So it's basically about B. I'm not even trying to pronounce her last name. It's like Schumacher? Maybe it's Schumacher. Who is this blogger, like fashion blogger, and she's plus size, and I think she gets invited onto a bachelor type show called Main Squeeze, and it's like her experience on that show being a woman who is plus size, and usually those shows are always having women who are, you know, the skinny white girl, and so this time it's someone different, and she meets all these men, and some of them are quite disgusting towards her, and then others are more respectful, but it's like more complicated than that, because some people are respectful just towards the surface, just for the cameras, and behind the scenes it's like totally different. So it's just like her navigating how she's perceived on this show, because another thing to keep in mind is you're always getting live reactions to shows like this. So some people are just like so against it, and then other people are like, I'm proud to see someone like themselves represented on TV. I really liked the ending of this book a lot. So because it's I think it's marketed as a romance, but I wouldn't really call it that. I don't know, maybe it's more like self-discovery, I guess. But I mean, there is romance in it, but like that's not the main part of the story. There's more to it than just that. So yeah, I really liked it. Okay, I'm back to talk more about books. This is a different day, if I'm being totally honest, but we're gonna finish this video. So I think I literally went exactly through half the books that I read, which is like 15. So I'm gonna do the last 15. I think it's 15. Get into it. So I think the last one that I talked about was One to Watch, which I rated 4 out of 5 stars. And the one that I'm gonna talk about after that is Take a Hint, Dani Brown. So this whole Brown Sisters trilogy, it's a trilogy I think, by Talia Hibbert has gained so much attention and fame and love from so many people. So I was just like really curious, and the first one that I read, which is Get a Life, Chloe Brown, was really good. I really liked that one. It was really enjoyable. I feel like a lot of people rated it like 5 stars. It wasn't like the most like it didn't, like, the romance didn't, like, awe me in any way. Like, what, I feel like there's a better way to say that. Like, it didn't sweep me off my feet in any way, but it was still super enjoyable, and I liked how, like, the serious issues in the book were dealt. So the second sister is, or the second book is about the second sister, who is Dani Brown. This is another, like, kind of, I think it's like an enemies to lover, like, romance. There's the two love interests are, of course, Dani Brown and then Zafir Ansari, and Zafir rescues Dani from the building because he's a security guard, and I think she's like gets stuck in like an elevator because they were having like a fire drill, but it was like a workplace fire drill that went wrong. So he ends up saving her, and when he carries her out of the building, people are like taking pictures, and then those pictures go viral, and then everyone starts shipping them. So then they use this kind of attention to their advantage, but then, you know, things sprout from there, and so it's a fake dating kind of trope. So it's really, really enjoyable. I love the banter in these books, the banter between the love interests. Literally all the books are so good. I love it when like banter's like not cringy, because I've read, at least recently, I feel like within the last year and this year, I've read so many romances and the banter is like so cringy to me. It also, like, I think I already mentioned this, but like romance is just a genre where like I just find cringy in general, so it's hard for me to like them, and when an author gets it right, it's just like really, really nice. I think Talia Hibbert did really well with these three romances. I'm really excited to read the third one because is it like Eve Brown? I don't know, but I feel like her story is like kind of the most relatable to me, because she's quite like all the three sisters have their own like personal, like, I don't want to say issues, but yeah, they have things that they're going through basically. And like for the third sister, I believe it's like she doesn't really know what she wants to do with her life, and so like she's trying out like all these different things, but then like none of those things actually are like secure enough for her to like make a living on her own. So like her parents are like, you need to like do something about this basically. And of course there's also like a romance in that book as well, but yeah, I'm really, really excited to read that one. I feel like that one might be my favorite. I feel like that's a lot of people's least favorite, but I feel like it might be my most, but we'll see. That's a book for in 2022. But the next book I read, I was so disappointed. I've already, oh, by the way, take a hint, Dani Brown, I did not read, I did not read physically. I listened to it on audio. This next book I also listened to on audio because I heard from a lot of people that it wasn't very good, and like the description of the book is not really what the book executes, if that makes any sense. So I was like really curious because I just wanted to see if everyone was right about it, I guess, and like the story was intriguing enough for me to like see what it was all about, and like see if everyone was just like being dramatic or like if it was actually true. And it pains me to say that they were actually right. But the next book is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. So basically this is supposed to be like a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, but set in like, I think it's like 20 Shanghai. It's between Juliet and what's the guy's name? It's like what's the name? It's gonna Roma. I was like, I know it's something with the Rome, but because of Romeo, but I don't think it's actually Romeo. It's not. Okay. But it's supposed to be like the romance between these two, right? Because their families don't like each other, whatever. But they're also on a mission to like fight this monster in this book, which is not a spoiler. It's literally in the summary. but majority of the book is literally about them fighting these monsters. Like, where's the romance in this book? I don't know. It just like disappeared, and I was just so excited because I don't like Romeo and Juliet. I don't like Shakespeare at all. And yes, I've tried reading his novels, but or whatever the frick they are, poems, novels, dramas, plays, whatever. But they're just like so like it makes me want to like pull my hair out. Like I don't know how people like Shakespeare. I really don't. And I get all the deeper meanings within his works, but like still. Anyways, so I was like so excited to see what this retelling would be, if it was like much more like better, more modern, even though it's set in the 1920s, you know what I mean, like you can still make things like modern, and like you can make things however they want to be, basically, in a fictional novel is what I'm trying to say. Just a better version, and it's just like it really wasn't. Like I just did not care for the story. I finished it, but like I was so disappointed. This next book I have had for a while on my shelf. That's why I picked it up. Otherwise, I don't think, if it wasn't here on my shelf, I don't think I would have ever have picked it up. But it's Lying About Last Summer by Sue Wallman. I rated this 2 out of 5 stars. It's like a silly little teenager thriller. And I think I already mentioned this in one of my videos, but this book in one of my videos. But it's basically about this girl's sister who dies. So the girl is sent to like this grieving camp, which her parents make her go to, and she gets there and she like doesn't want to be there. And even though she's clearly still struggling with this loss, the main mystery in this book is that she gets a message from her dead sister. I think that's, yeah, if I remember it correctly. She gets a message from her dead sister, and she's like, okay, who is this? Looks like my sister's dead. And so she thinks it's someone at the camp like trying to prank her, so she's trying to figure out who it is, and that's like the whole book. Yeah, I don't know. Didn't really care. I love sister stories, but like I did not care for that one. Okay, next book, The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang. Oh, I didn't even have Lying About Last Summer on my shelf because I already donated it, but I did read that physically, obviously, because I had it on my shelf. Anyways, this next book, The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang, I listened to it on audio, and this book made me realize I never want to listen to romance by audiobooks ever again. Like I don't want to do it. I don't know why I did it. I mean, like, I guess I did listen to like this sister, like Talia and Chloe Brown, like all the Brown sister stories on audio, but like that was different because they were kind of like wholesome. I mean, there was like some smut in it, but like this book, I was like, it made me feel so awkward listening to this in audio. I don't know how people listen to smut on audio. It literally makes no sense to me because I just feel so awkward, even when there's no one around me. Yeah. Yeah, no. It was still entertaining. I liked it. I rated it 3 out of 5 stars, but anyways. Okay, so The Kiss Quotient is about Stella, who's, I think she's like some sort of like developer or something. She's basically this really smart gal. We love a smart gal who's in STEM, who with this freaking dominating field, male dominating, working this male dominated field is just, you know, it's tough, but she's doing it, and she's doing it good, and she created this really smart algorithm, and she's getting so much money from it. But the point is, or not the point, the problem is in her life is that she has all this money and everything, but she doesn't feel like fulfilled, you know. And she's like, I really want to like get out there, and I want to like try new things and just get out of my comfort zone, because I feel like I'm always like stuck in this office like doing the same things, and I have all this money but I don't know what to do with it. So she hires this like male escort to help her with some of the things, if you know what I'm talking about. and she also has Asperger's syndrome, but this, and she pays this male escort as well a lot of money to help her. And so he's like, I can't really deny this offer because like it's so much money. And so he accepts the offer, and he's like helping her with some things, and then during that process they kind of like, you know, fall in love. That's basically the whole story. And so yeah, I thought the romance was like really sweet. I thought it was just really sweet the way that they, because like, of course she has issues of her own, but then the guy whose name I forget is yeah, I forget his name, but he also has issues of his own because he is a male escort, and that's not something that like he necessarily likes doing, because people don't treat him with respect. And so just them like helping each other and like accepting each other was just such a sweet thing to read. I don't know, like, I guess I haven't read a lot of romances where like two people are emotionally like available for each other in a healthy way, you know. So that was just like really refreshing. And yeah, I really liked this book, and they were like pretty mature too, so I rated it 3 out of 5 stars. Okay, next book. Oh my god, this book. Okay, I freaking like this. I think this is my like first, no, it's not. Is it? No, it's not. It's one of the very few 5 out of 5 stars that I gave this year. Oh my god, this book is so flipping amazing. So it's Seven Husbands of Evelyn and Hugo. I did read this physically. Chef's kiss. I just want everyone around me to read this book so bad, but like the problem is like people around me just like, I'm not like, a lot of people around me, they like reading, like a bunch of my friends, they like reading, but they don't do it often. And so like if I tell someone to read a book, like they won't do it immediately, and I'm like, no, I need you to do this like now. This is a book that you need to read like right now. Like that's how good it is. Basically Evelyn Hugo is this amazing, gorgeous, stunning actress, and she hires a girl to write her biography, and she offers a lot of money, but this girl's like, why is she hiring me, you know, like I'm like newer to this writing company, like I don't know why she's hiring me, blah blah blah. But then actually this girl, what's her name, Monique, she actually wrote this article that went viral, and that is how she got the job in the publishing company or the writing company or whatever company. Evelyn like she read that and she was like, she thought it was amazing, so that's why she hired Monique. So Monique comes, and then she like accepts the job. Evelyn tells her like, I don't want you to hand over the story to your writing company, like I want you to write it on your own and like publish it as your own work, like independent from the company that you work for. And so now she's like, what, like why is she doing this? Because obviously if she does that, all that money that Evelyn is paying her goes to her. It's not like the company takes a profit of that money, or like a portion of that money. So she's like, I know this is benefiting me, but like why does she only want me to do it? Like why does she care if that money goes to me, or if like only half the money goes to me and the other half goes to the company? Like why? But she does it anyways. And then like throughout the story, like throughout the book, like you find out all the stuff about Evelyn's life, like how she had 7 husbands. Then there's kind of like a plot twist that happens at the end, which was literally stunning. Oh my god, the way that they wrapped it up was like, oh, I did not cry, surprisingly. I don't know how, but like of course I found it like really, really heartbreaking like throughout the book, but like I don't know how I didn't cry. I genuinely don't, because I know a lot of people did cry reading this book, but it was really, really emotional. I need a movie from this book like so badly. It is based on like, I think a lot of Taylor Jenkins Reid's work is based on like true stories, like true movie stars or like any kind of star, but it's not like exactly to the T what their life was. It's just like little bits from people's lives. But oh, this was so stunning. And you can also, it's not just about Evelyn, like you also find out things about like Monique's life and her own struggles as well. Oh my god, if there was ever a book like written so well about women, it's this one. It's really, oh, it's so good. Let's see if I quoted or highlighted any quotes, because there's probably some really good ones in here. Maybe it'll give you guys like a taste of what the story's about. This quote gave me such chills. I was like, I need a Harry in my life right now, because it's like this quote is like, he said, you do not know how fast you have been running, how hard you have been working, how truly exhausted you are, until someone stands behind you and says, it's okay, you can fall down now, I'll catch you. So I fell down and Harry caught me. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I need a Harry in my life so badly. But yeah, I can talk about this book for hours and hours and hours, and absolutely it was perfection. Like nothing could have been written better, honestly. It like, oh, it's so good, so good. Okay, this next book that I read was The Score by Elle Kennedy. It's from the Off-Campus series. I only read the first and third one from the Off-Campus series, and like that's all I'm going to be doing too. I'm not going to be reading anymore. I don't know if there are any more, but they're just kind of like fun little college romances. They're not like anything crazy. They're just like, I like to read these books between breaks, or as a break from like one serious book to another serious book. I like to have like something that's just like meaningless and fun in the middle. So yeah, this one did a number on me. So I was like, I just need something like really mindless to read. So I picked this one up, and it was fun. I rated it 3 out of 5 stars. I read this on my Kindle. But this is basically about Allie Hayes, who has just been broken up with from like this really long-term relationship, and I don't know how this happens, but like she ends up going over to her roommate, who is also her best friend's boyfriend's place, because it sounds so weird at first. Trust me, it's not what it sounds like she's about to hook up with her best friend's boyfriend, and she's not. But like her best friend's boyfriend has like a bunch of roommates there too, so like she goes over there to like hang out whenever her best friend also goes to visit her boyfriend, if that makes any sense. So they go, and then there's this one of his roommates is like really flirty, Dean, and so like at one point they're like left in the like dorm together, or like apartment, I don't know where they live, one of those, and they're like, you know, they have like this banter going on. She like ends up talking to him about this long-term relationship that she just got out of, and he's also like flirting, because he's kind of like an F-boy. He flirts with everyone basically, so he's like flirting with her as well, and she's like not into it. But I think like she like ends up drinking a little bit or like something like that, and so she kind of like falls for the flirting, and then they have like a one-night stand or something, but then they like end up getting like feelings for each other, and it's like their little romance or whatever. Again, nothing wildly amazing, but if you just need something fun and mindless, I recommend it. The other book that I read after this one, again, I told you guys, like when I go from one serious book to another serious book, I need like a buffer in the middle where I'm like, I need to read some sort of piece of crap to just give my brain a break. So I read All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. This took me so long to read. I mean, it is like 500 and something pages, but it just took me so long to read, and it was beautiful. Like, it's written so beautifully, like gorgeous, absolutely stunning, but I just did not care for the characters. It's basically a book written during the when is it written? It's like when when the Nazis occupied Paris. Is written through the perspective of two people, I want to say, Marie Laure and then Werner Finnig. And Werner is like, isn't he a Nazi soldier? Or he's from Germany, but I think he ends up being recruited. And then Marie Laure is blind, and she lives in Paris, and so it's basically about like both of their perspectives through this like historical time, right? And I don't know, it was written gorgeously, but like I just like, especially Marie, like I really expected to empathize with her a lot, but like it's not that I didn't. It's not like I was like, you deserve it. It's not like that. Like, no one deserves to go through whatever she went through, but it's just like there was nothing for me to latch onto emotionally, because the characters were just kind of bland. If there's one memorable character, I feel like it was Marie Laure's father that I just really remember really well, and I really liked him. But other than that, like, I don't know, like if the characters don't stand out to me, it's really hard for me to get into a book. So they don't have to be like the most stunning characters and everything, but like I need to latch onto something, like, and there wasn't much to connect with. So that was really unfortunate, but I did finish it. So I rated it 2 out of 5 stars, because I was like, I want to give it more than a 1-star rating for the writing, but the kind of story and the characters just were just so bland to me. This next book that I listened to, but then afterwards I got the physical version of it, is The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. I listened to this on Audible. No, not on Audible. I don't have Audible. I listened to this on Libby during like Halloween time, and because someone said the audiobook was really good, so I listened to it. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I really like, I've never read anything by Neil Gaiman, but I know of Coraline because I watched the movie and I really like Coraline, but I've never actually read anything of his, but I do follow him on Twitter, which is funny. I'm just gonna read like the back of this for you guys, but it says, nobody Owens known as Bod is a normal boy. He would be completely normal if he didn't live in a graveyard, wasn't being raised by ghosts, and didn't have a guardian who belongs to neither the world of the living nor the dead. There are adventures in the graveyard for a boy, an ancient indigo man, a gateway to the abandoned city of ghouls, the strange and terrible slayer. But if Bod leaves the graveyard, he will be in danger from the man, Jack, who has already killed Bod's family. Each chapter in this adaptation by P. Craig Russell is illustrated by a different luminary. Okay, I'm not gonna read that part, but yeah, really stunning book. I loved Bod. I thought he was just so precious, and just like the story, I don't know, it's really like haunting, honestly. The story's like pretty creepy, I would say. Like, I feel like Neil Gaiman is like one of those authors that writes a lot of like borderline children adult stories. Kind of reminds me of like the Polar Express because like you watch it when you're a kid and it's one thing, but then you watch it when you grow up and you're like, that's kind of creepy. And I feel like that's literally what Neil Gaiman is. So yeah, I'm really excited to like look through the illustrations and read the comic. I'll probably do that this Halloween, so, because it is 2022 right now. I'm filming this in 2022, so yeah. But honestly, just a really stunning book, and I love like adventure kind of books, and this was like the perfect one for like Halloween time. Absolutely stunning, very unique as well. If reading this book like really helped me get a little glimpse into Neil Gaiman's mind, and it's quite extraordinary. So yeah. The next book that I read, which was also like probably one of the most memorable books that I read this year, and that is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. Basically, this is about Kaya, who I thought her name was Kya the whole time, but it's Kaya, who lives in this town, but she like lives on a marsh because like her family's really poor, and her family, like, one day they leave like one by one because her father's really abusive, and so it's obviously really hard to stay in that kind of a climate like every day of your life. So when all her siblings get a chance, they leave one by one, and then at the end she's the youngest one, so she ends up being the one that stays the longest with her father, and it's kind of her journey dealing with that, as well as like dealing with like growing up but doing it all on her own because there's no one there to help her once all her siblings leave. And then there's also like a mystery element to this book, but this book is way more than that. Like, I just never understood why people were like, it's a mystery book, and they just left it at that, because then you think it's some sort of like thriller or something, but it's like way more than that. And I hate it when people go into this book thinking it's mystery and then they realize that it's not, and they rate it like 2 out of 5 stars. There's like so much more to this book than just kind of like the mystery element, but there is someone that goes missing in the town, and there are reasons to believe that Kaya's the one who did it. It's like, is she the one who did it? I don't know, like, is she? Because she's not like a bad person by any means. So people are like, did she really do it or something? And like, also she's really like secluded, like no one talks to her. She tries going to like school one time, and like everyone bullies her, so she like never returns to school again, so she doesn't really know how to speak properly or how to read and write, so that's another thing. But I feel like seeing her like grow was such an incredible thing. Like, this is also another book that is being turned into a movie that I'm so incredibly excited to watch, and it has Daisy Edgar Jones playing Kaya, which I'm so excited because I love Daisy Edgar Jones, so I'm really excited for the movie. But a really stunning book. I would totally recommend it. The next book that I listened to on audio was Wayward Son, which is the second book in the Carry On, or what is it called, like the Rainbow Rowell, like the Harry Potter spin-off kind of series trilogy books thing, but it's the second book in that, and it's called Wayward Son. So I listened to this. I rated this 3 out of 5 stars, though I didn't really like it that much. Like, it was fun to listen to, but after listening to it, I was like, so what actually happened? Yeah, the relationship between Simon and Baz was like so weird in this book. Like, there was like a distance between them, but even at the end, it was like solved at the very end, I feel, and like and like even the way that it was solved was like so strange to me. It just felt really flat for me, especially compared to the first one. Some people didn't like it because it was more serious. I feel like that's kind of like, no offense, but like kind of like a dumb reason to stop liking a book. Like, I don't know, like the Harry Potter books got serious like towards the end, but like that doesn't mean they were necessarily bad. I don't mind when books get serious. It's just like when they lose like the magic that they had, it's just like when the stuff that you liked about the book initially just kind of like vanish, and then it turns into something else. That's where I like stop liking a book. I don't mind if it gets serious, just have like the elements of it that I initially liked in it, you know? It was just like pretty disappointing, honestly. I think the only part about it that I actually liked was like maybe like the journey that they went throughout the book, because there is like a specific like journey was like interesting, I guess. But other than that, like characters were all kind of weird for me. I don't know. So something strange in that book that just didn't hit quite right. The next book that I read was The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I read this on my Kindle. Fun book, but I wish it was better just because I like the premise of the story so much. Basically, it is a hate to love, enemies to lovers kind of romance. So there's this company, kind of like, let's picture it as like Disneyland or Disney. It doesn't have to be Disneyland, just Disney. Actually, yeah, it is kind of Disneyland because it is based on like a theme park. So the main guy, who is, what's his name? Rowan. Okay, Rowan. He's like, is he an architect? Something like that. He's like an architect, I think, and his grandfather owned this. Who's like, picture him like he's like Walt Disney. He owned this big, amazing like children's movie company kind of, and but then he passes away, so then this company gets shifted to the grandsons because their father is like not a great person. So the grandfather decides to give the company to these 3 grandsons, but in his will he writes like 3 things for his grandsons to accomplish, and if all 3 of them accomplish these specific things, then they can get the company. If they don't, then the father gets the company. So one of the things for one of the brothers was like, you have to get married. The other one, I think for Rowan, it's like he has to like make a new proposal for the theme park, and he has to like make it better or something like that. I forget what it was, but something like that. This is kind of where Zara comes. Is that her name? Zara? Yeah, Zara comes into play because she's this like really smart and successful like architect, and who has like good ideas, but it's hard for her to like execute them, like draw them out and stuff like that. So they kind of have this like workplace romance thing going on where they kind of like help each other, but they have like but like Zara doesn't really like him at first because he's like really arrogant, you know the type, and just like rude, and she doesn't like that. And she knew the grandfather, actually, the main guy who owned the company, and so the grandfather like recommends her. Rowan's like, why out of everyone would he like recommend her? Like, she doesn't even know how to like freaking draw buildings. So it's like this whole thing. Then like through helping each other out with like giving ideas and like executing them properly through this kind of back and forth, they kind of like gain a liking towards each other. So that's kind of like the whole book. It was kind of long and just like not what I thought it would be. Like, I don't know, I didn't find it that endearing. I thought Zara was like kind of annoying, if I'm gonna be honest. Like, she was just like super like doubtful of herself. I get it, but also like to a point where it's just like it gets annoying. It's like, okay, we know that you think you're not good enough, but like, can you like shut up now and like get a grip? I think it was more annoying to see her be so unsure of herself in front of Rowan, because it kind of like posed that thing where it's like Rowan is the one there to like make her better, and like rather than her doing it by herself. Like, I don't know, it's just like more satisfying if she does it on her own, which at the end I guess she kind of does end up realizing that. I feel like Rowan is like kind of has to tell her over and over again, and it's just like annoying when I see that a man is like kind of doing that work for a woman. Like, I don't know, I just found her annoying. I also found like Rowan not that likable because he is so arrogant, and just like, he's just not nice. Like, he ends up like being more nice, but like he only does that because Zara's there, which reinforces that like a female is there for a man to change him. You're a big boy, can't you do it yourself? Like, I don't know, it was like the most like heartless things that he would do. Like, I think like he wouldn't give enough holidays to employees, and he wouldn't pay them well, and he knew that they were having like his employees were having like financial issues, and he still wouldn't do that, which is like, and he's like, oh, I just can't become like too emotional. I'm like, what is so emotional about handing money out, money that you have out? Like, what is so emotional about that? Like, it's just, I don't know, I just found the characters annoying. So I didn't really like care that much, but I think I gave it like a decent, what did I give it, 2 or 3 stars? I forget. 2 stars. I gave it like 2 stars because I just liked like the Disneyland, the Disney kind of reference, I guess. The next book that I listened to was The Poetic X by Elizabeth Acevedo, which is actually like a book written in verse, and it's about a girl who discovers like poetry, and like through poetry she writes about like all her like life experiences, which was just so like stunning, the way that the poetry was written, like amazing. So the whole book is kind of like her like a compilation of her poems, but like in a way that it's being told like through a story as well. It was so relatable, like the stuff that she wrote about, because she's just writing about her life. It's not anything like grand, I guess. Like, she's just writing about stuff happening in her life, good and bad, and it was just like very raw and natural. And like, I don't like poetry because I find it so dense, almost like trying too hard, but this was just totally different. And I think it also has a lot to do with the kinds of things that were written, because these are things that so many people like go through. Also, just like, this is also written like by a person of color and a woman, a female, so like that in and of itself is just really relatable to me. So just again, like the experiences that she's gone through, like, it's just really relatable. So yeah, I really liked that. I rated that 5 out of 5, 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 4 out of 5. Okay, 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read, you guys, it makes me so sad how many people did not like this book. It genuinely makes me so sad. But like, I guess you like the only people who really like this book are people who've had similar experiences to the main character. Otherwise, like, I guess I can see why you wouldn't like it. I don't know, because I loved this book. It's Malibu Rising by Jenkins Reid. I wish I bought the physical version. I probably will later on in the future, but I did listen to this on audio. It's basically about a family of 4 famous siblings who are surfers, but it's like takes you through like their whole life since they were kids, and then to when they got famous, and like afterwards. And it's kind of like a This Is Us kind of story, where like all these people's stories are kind of like intertwined with each other. Stunning book. Like, I loved the focus on like dysfunctional families, because it's something I can so relate to, unfortunately. And like that like was so real to me. I guess if you haven't really like experienced that, then you wouldn't really understand, therefore you would give this book a low rating. Do you really have to experience the same exact things as a character in a book to give it a good rating though? Like, that seems kind of like ignorant to me. I loved Nina, who is like the oldest sibling out of the 4. She, like, after the mother passes away, she's the one that has to take care of the siblings. By the way, that's not a spoiler alert, like, it's literally said in the beginning of the story that the mother passed away, but she has to take care of the 4 siblings. And just her journey of taking care of them, oh my god, Sunny, it actually kind of reminded me of Shameless, which I never watched Shameless, but I watched the Turkish version of Shameless, and it reminds me a lot of that. And like, also they're the children of a famous movie actor whose name is McReba, but then there's like falling out with the father as well. And oh, there's this amazing, like, literally thinking about it just gives me chills, But there's this amazing like monologue that Nina has towards like the end of the book with the Mick, when they're like on the beach and they reunite after a long time, and she like confronts him, and it just broke me. It was so amazing. Like just, oh my god, I loved that part in the book. And just like the relationships between the siblings were so sweet. Of course, like even the siblings, like everyone had like falling outs, because like, you know, a lot of siblings are just not like, you don't have the most perfect relationship with your siblings. And so like even the relationship between the siblings, and like the reason why some of them are more distant than others, or some of them are more close than others, it was just like really, really cool to read about, I guess. Also, the journey that Nina goes through with her like love interests, oh my god, the scene at the party where you know it was, oh my god, I was like literally so happy for her. Stunning lady, stunning. Love that book. I need to buy like a physical version of it and like freaking highlight the shit out of it, because I loved it so much. Give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It wasn't like the most perfect book ever written, but I still loved it. Like, I still love Seven Husbands of Hugo more, but the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo more, but this was like a really close second. It was just, even though this one was more relatable to me, and like I also think I found so much, even though I'm not an older sibling, I found so much of myself represented in Nina. She like saw her mother go through like so much growing up, and so she kind of like takes that on, and then she like it's after that it's like hard for her to like lean on anyone. And like I think that's something that's so relatable to me, because I like freaking hate depending on people. So like that was amazing. But then to actually see her like let go and then like lean on her sister for a little bit was like also so beautiful. And just not just her sister, but like her siblings in general, like her 2 brothers. Oh, stunning. I just love her so much. And then I got 82% through The Godfather, and I was like, I don't know why I'm reading this, because I don't care. So I DNF'd that. Oops. I know, I got 82% and I like DNF'd it. I never DNF'd a book in my entire life. I find it so like annoying to have something unfinished, but I just couldn't do it anymore, and I DNF'd that shit so fast. Well, not so fast. It took me 82% of it, and then I DNF'd it. So yeah, I don't care about gangs, so I don't know why I did it. I think it's because I really wanted to watch the movie, and I was like, oh, I should probably read the book before I watch the movie. Bad idea, because I've heard so many people say like the movie's so much better than the book. That's like the one instance where the movie is better, because the book just has so much crap that's just like not necessary, and it's like so much filler stuff, and I still was like, now I'm gonna read the book, and then look what happened. The last book that I read this year was Men Without Women by Haruki Murakami. You guys, this was such a disappointment. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, so like not the most horrible book. I did physically read this, but it's just so disappointing, because okay, so it's basically a book of like short stories, and like all these short stories are about like how there are men out there who like live without women through whatever way, whether it's because their wife left them, or because they found out like their wife cheating on them, or if their wife died, or if they're whatever. Literally so much misogyny in this book. Why? This had so much potential. And like literally so misogynistic, but I liked some of the stories. I really liked the one at the beginning, actually, about the guy. Of course I like this one. It's like honestly such a pathetic story, but like I don't know why I liked it. But it's about the guy who gets a driver, and so he's like, while his driver's driving him around, he like tells her his life, like his like life story basically, and he talks about like how he found out that his wife was like cheating on someone, but like he would never confronted her because he loved her so much that he never confronted her, which like, and then she also ends up dying. Like he knew that she was sick at the time, also is another reason why he never confronted her, because like he knew that she was gonna like go at some point. No, I almost found that like sweet, but like also not, obviously, because like cheating is just like such a horrible thing. I hate watching like cheating happening in like movies, TV shows. I hate reading about cheating. Oh, I hate it. I hate it. There's like a few stories that I liked, which is why I rated it 3 out of 5 stars, but I was also like kind of like disappointed. But yeah, those are all the books that I read in 2021. I'm sorry if I didn't go through these books as best or as well as you thought I would. Hopefully I'll get better and better at this as time goes on, but for now that's all I got. My reading challenge for this year is 35 books. Last year was 30, so this year it's 35, and I'm currently reading A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire right now, which is the second book in the From Blood and Ash series, and so far I'm enjoying it. It's all right. I think I like the first one more already, but like who knows, we'll see. I'm only like 20% through the book, so yeah, but still, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next video, which will probably be when I'm back at university, because I'm leaving in like 4 days. So yeah, okay, bye guys, see you later.